Like, and you mentioned that the game is going toward the European players. What's their system? What's their method? It seems like the players are more developed that come from over there, whereas though players here are relying on athletes. They're dunking and all the highlights are showing them dunk, but it's the fundamental aspect of shooting and dribbling isn't as as focused on as it is in the European leagues.
What Europe has been doing for years, and this is back since the 80s. I believe they started this. Europe has basketball academies in countries.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're starting at here in America. For the last 15, 20 years, they've been going, but it's starting to be a real boom now.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is the Europeans at an early age, they put the emphasis on athletics, not so much on academics. So they know if this is what you want to do, a kid will go in their country, they'll go to the academy, they live, education is done there, it's all paid by the government.
Mm-hmm.
And they train all day, constantly training.
Wow.
So they getting skills. Cuba does it in boxing. They've been doing it in boxing forever.
Yeah, exactly.
So that gives them a development.
Mexico do it as well. I'm gonna cut you off. They do it in Mexico as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, but go ahead. I'm listening.
So in France and Spain, Germany, Russia, I know back in the 80s, Yugoslavia did it. They had these academies training these guys early and developing them. And the style of the way the NBA want to go. So we all know, like towards the later end, David Stern, when he was still commissioner, he switched it from a physical game to more of a entertainment style.
Yeah, exactly. Like higher scoring, so forth and so on. Yeah,
and that benefits the Europeans more than it benefits us. Our game has always been physical.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up, we dumped the ball down to the big man.
Correct.
Or if you have a scoring guard, Michael Jordan type,
yeah.
you go one-on-one, go to work. Allen Iverson, go
Correct.
One-on-one, go to work.
Mm-hmm.
They switched the game, like you said, made it less physical, more fast-paced.
Yeah.
And that helps the Europeans because the Europeans play more of a finesse style game, and this is what is more of today's NBA is.
Correct.
It's a finesse game.
Yeah. So even with that being said, I'll be like, we all watch the NBA game, and you see players like Luka Doncic. He's like really like already one of the best players. I'm like top, in my opinion, based off the NBA game. He's like top 10, sometimes probably even top 5 in the NBA. Already, he hasn't even been in the league that long. You know what I'm saying? Opposed to you have American players that came in with him that aren't even considered to be top 10 players.
Well, the difference is the lifestyle. So, Luka Doncic come from poor country, Slovenia, grew up poor, and his whole dream in life has been in the NBA. He's a guy like a Greek freak who probably spent nights and sleeping in the gym.
Exactly.
Whereas, some of the American players are Hollywood. They going out to clubs. They got a bunch of
entourage,
Instagram, and entourage, right. Instagram, all social media. So the mentality is totally different. And not only by them playing in them academies, the European guys become professionals early.
Exactly.
So they start playing against grown men at 15, 16, 17. So that when they get to the NBA at 21, 22, they're already a little bit more seasoned.
Mm-hmm.
They understand how a professional system works. They understand what it's like to be a professional, go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Come to practice every day, work hard. Their mentality and their structure is completely different than a younger, American player.
Let me ask you a question. Just speaking about college basketball, let's go back to college basketball. We have a lot of players from our city that or surrounding our city that play college ball. What do you think, or who do you think is the best player from our region that's in college basketball? And do you think that player that you mentioned is going to be, NBA lottery pick?
Right now, who's the best player from our region that's in college? It's a hard question right now. I'm trying to think of everybody that's in college right now. I mean, a lot of them.
You got DeWine, you got Wagner.
Mm-hmm. I know. I wouldn't consider him the best. He had a terrible year too. He was forced. He was like what I talked about earlier. He was forced. He was smart though. He probably could have been forced to go out and still put himself in the draft. But his handling situation with his dad involved and close family friend being general manager of the Knicks, that relationship with Kyler Perry, he was smart to follow Coach Kyle to Arkansas. I think that was a smart move for him to come back instead of putting himself in the draft when he's sure that he's not ready. It's hard. I can't really say.
All right, let's speak about DJ Wagner then, because I believe he's probably the most popular player that's probably that I can think of right now that's in our
area.
Yeah. So, what do you think he needs to improve on if he wants to be considered to be a lottery pick? Because I don't know if the draft next year may be a little bit more,
I think
maybe
it's
a little bit better.
It is.
Yeah.
He needs to learn how to play the point. He needs to learn how to play the one. He's a volume shooter and scorer in high school, and he's not his father. So that needs to be separated, and he needs to find his own niche. Because people think he's his father. Because in high school, he scored the ball.
Yeah.
But his father was a big-time athlete, which he's not.
Yeah.
His father also had a quick release on his jump shot, which DJ don't have a bad release, and he gets his shots off over bigger players, but his father stayed shot ready, which is a skill in itself. Like, he was never not ready to shoot the ball off the pass.
Yeah.
And DJ needs to work on that. He also needs to work on his jump shot.
Yeah.
He needs to learn how to play under control as well, because he's a lot out of control.
Yeah. I saw he had a lot of turnovers this year. I was watching they was like critiquing him, and they saw he turned the ball over in a lot of key possessions, and he wasn't handling the ball as efficient as he was in college. It was kind of comparing him to a lot of players. Now, to go on to LeBron James' son, Bronny James, he got drafted. A lot of people say he got drafted because of who his father is. A lot of people believe that. When you look at Bronny James' game, do you think that he's NBA ready, even though he's been drafted by the NBA?
I will say this, and I'm going on record saying that he's going to be a better pro than everybody giving him credit for. Number one, he's fundamentally flawed. If you look at his fundamentals or his release on his jump shot, all his fundamentals are there. Perfect. See, what people fail to realize, everybody ain't going to be a star. He don't have to be his dad. He can find his niche by playing defense. He will be able to hit open jump shots. And he is an NBA athlete as far as athleticism and strength. He has that. So he can go out there and make a niche in the NBA as a role player.
Correct.
And I think that's the route that he's going to take. And I think he's going to have a long career. I think people just always assume that you have to be a great player, or everybody got to average 25 or 30 points. That's not realistic. For the best teams to win games, you got to have role players.
Correct.
Everybody got to understand their role. Look at Golden State. Draymond Green only averaged 13 points, 12 points at the most.
But he rebound, assist, everything. Yeah.
Right. Everybody's not going to be LeBron. Everybody's not going to be Steph Curry. So I think little Bronny's going to be fine. And I don't care what everybody say. I would have did the same thing for my son. I'm pretty sure you would have done the same thing for yours.
Yeah, for sure.
So they need to cut all that.
So when you look at now, another question: do you think Bronny gonna get any playing time this year?
No.
Okay.
I think if they're smart, they would do him a two-way contract.
But they said, I'm gonna cut you off. But they said that Clutch Sports owner CEO, he said that Bronny, he's not interested in a two-way contract. He wants to play. He wants to be on an NBA roster. He doesn't want to go to the G League.
Well, I'll say this because Clutch Sports is owned by LeBron James.
Yeah.
And Rich Paul's his best friend.
Correct.
So they're looking for him not to get a two-way. They're flexing their muscle, showing, their power. If they were smart, they will play him in the G League and in the NBA, to me.
Yeah.
He needs to be on the floor, but he's not ready to put him out on the floor right now. You only get better if you're playing.
Exactly.
You don't get better by sitting.
So that probably was a tactic that they was using to scare other teams off, possibly from drafting him.
Yeah.
So forth and so on. But now he's with LA. LA can be like, hey, listen, he needs to go. He needs to play more, like you said. That probably would be best for his career and better for his development.
Right, because he can sign an NBA contract, and they still can send him down to the G League. And that's what they did. So they scared everybody off. Boston was stupid. If I was the general manager of Boston, I'm drafting Bronny. Now I'm holding y'all hostage because LeBron, you want him.
Yeah.
Now I want X. I want him, and him. You get Bronny. Now I own his rights.
Yeah.
If Boston drafted him at 31st in the first round, they own all his rights. So even if he tried to go play overseas, he can't come back to the NBA because the Celtics would have owned his rights.
Exactly.
So that's what they should have did. They were stupid. They let Rich Paul scare him out of that. But
do you think LeBron would have went if they would have drafted? You think LeBron would have went to Boston? Because LeBron said he wanted to play with his son.
Right, he might have. Who knows? They would have got some. I think Boston eventually gave him to L.A., but they would have got something out of the deal.
Yeah.
They would have got some good players out of the deal.
I was hoping the Sixers kind of did similar to the same thing. I was like, the Sixers, they needed to just make that move, but we never made that moving and getting Bronny. Now to move on to the NBA game, right? Now you see a lot of players that's coming into the NBA. And a lot of the players are, like I said, like you said, are getting caught up into the limelight, getting their first $1 million check, not understand, being poor, coming from impoverished neighborhoods. What do you think they should put in place? Or what do you suggest that these players take advantage of in order to, be more secure in their lifestyle?
I think the first thing, they need to have a real support system around them. It's hard and it's easy to see what you would do when you have life-changing money, but when you don't, you don't know because you don't have it. So it is a big deal when they come into that type of money. I think the best thing is to have a real support system. Don't have a bunch of yes men around you agreeing and letting you pretty much, do anything you want. Have someone that's going to be honest with you, to tell you from right from wrong, so you can not make as many mistakes as you're potentially about to run into. Because we all know once you get a bunch of money, then here come all the evils in the world is at your hands. You can you have access to go anywhere, access to anybody, and that can always lead to the wrong path. And a lot of guys, and you look at the timelines of pro athletes, a lot of guys burn out quick because they be doing everything else except working and perfecting their craft, and they live in that lifestyle that eventually burns them out and gets them eventually out of the league.
Now, what do you think is the biggest transition as far as the play from college to? Well, I start there. What do you think is the biggest transition from high school? Before I go there, I'm gonna ask you a question, because I noticed, like, in high school when I was a kid playing high school ball and playing with the high school players, so forth and so on, it seemed like they would have a 6'6" person playing the center, then teach him how to handle the ball, so forth and so on. So a 6'6" person will go to college ball, and in college he will be a guard. So basically he was underdeveloped and he didn't reach his full potential. So what do you say about the high school game transitioning into the college game, and then the college game transitioning into the NBA game?
Well, that's a good point, and that happens a lot, especially back in our era. Not as much as now. I would say the biggest thing, first of all, for a lot of these young high school kids, I think all them teaming up and trying to go to the best schools is a problem, and that's why some of them have problems when they get to college. Go and start your own movement. Learn how to become a star early.
Yeah.
So if I go to a school and I'm the best player, and I take my school to state championship, city title game, league, public league championship, or Catholic league championship, I'm the star. I'm the man. It teach you legacy. I'll give you an example. A kid Rashid Jordan, who graduated 10 years ago from Vaux High School. Called him the Prince of North Philly. Now, his story didn't end the way it should have ended, but he's so beloved in North Philly because he took his neighborhood high school, Vaux, took them to the public league championship and won a state championship. That's legendary stuff. Back in the day, Maurice Rice going to Strawberry Mansion.
Correct.
Man, Strawberry Mansion, they've been waiting for this, that whole area been waiting for that kid for years, since he was 6th grade to get to high school. And when he got there, his 12th grade year, he helped with the team get their first ever public league title.
Yeah.
Legendary stats. They're teaching them legacy.
Yeah.
So when you kids go to college, they already know how to become a star. They know what it's like to be a legacy. You know what it's like to have legacy, because when you join up on these so-called power teams, sometimes you do get underdeveloped because you don't get to show your full potential, because you're playing with 5 or 6 good guys, and you're limited to showing everything you can do.
Yeah, so it seems like, you know, also speaking about the college game, players come out of college and this person he's killing in college, and then he gets to the NBA and he's just like regular.
Well, a lot of that is time, opportunity also. And also some people just reach their ceiling. There's levels. You're going to have some.
Mega Care LLC. We give you an abundance of what you need. We know what you need. We can literally read your mind. Look at me, I'm staring right into your soul. We're gonna give you an abundance of it. Mega Care LLC has been rated #1 in Pennsylvania for home care agency since 2020. They got the best pay, the best care, medical, dental, 401k. If you're located in Philadelphia County, Bucks County, Chester County, or Montgomery County, call today at
215-644-8341.
Oh, hello, is this Mega Care? I just called the number that was here at the screen. This is crazy.